Yo guys, what is going on? It is Invin here, and today what I'm bringing to you guys is a rundown and a breakdown of the brand new Blunderbuss perks in the March PTR. Now, of course, these will be coming to the live game once the Heart of Madness update does drop. So what I wanted to do today is go through some of the specifically new Blunderbuss perks to the game, as well as touch on some of the new perks that have been added to weapons generally with this patch. Now, when we do get a full list of all of the new perks added across armor, weapons, and everything else, I will bring you guys an updated version of this video, including all of those as well. But this video is specifically going to touch on all of the Blunderbuss related ability perks and those brand new weapon perks like I said there. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this one. Before we jump into the video fully, if you haven't already done so, please do drop a subscribe to the channel down below, as it massively helps to support me and my content here on the channel. I upload brand new content every single day, and I would love to have you guys here as part of the channel community. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So firstly, we're going to go over to this engineering station here in Everfall, and we're going to scroll down to the Orichalcum Blunderbuss, and we're going to look at some of the perks. Now, of course, with this, you've got your regular Constitution, Dexterity, etc., and your split stat ones with that, so your Dex Strength, your Dex Intelligence, etc. Also, you've got your Abyssal Attunements, or whatever attunement it is, that were added to the game with the Mutations update. You've got your Banes, so your Ancient Bane, your Angry Earth Bane, etc. You've also got your chain perks, so your chain fire, your chain ice. All of those are available on the Blunderbuss. You also have things related to other ranged weapons like your accuracy. You have keen, vicious, that sort of thing as well, which is, you know, obviously really good on a lot of different situations. And then you will see we have the weapon specific ones. So the first weapon specific one we're going to touch on here is the Orichalcum Blunderbuss Charm. This one gives you Crippling Blast Shot, which is where targets who are hit by blast shot are slowed, reducing movement speed by 5 to 19% for 5 seconds. Now, given a slow on blast shot, I'll give you guys an idea of what this ability does. So this one down here, which is where you blast an immense wind out of the Blunderbuss, knocking down any target immediately in front of you. The blast shot deals 70% weapon damage. Now, with upgrades, you can make it apply a rend for 20% for 6 seconds, and you can also give your allies a 25% movement speed in an area in front of the shot for 8 seconds. Now, this paired with a slow for 14% slow at 600 gear score for 5 seconds, with a knockdown, with damage, and with a rend, is going to make this one of the most unstoppable utility perks in the entire game. This is going to be really, really good, and something a lot of players are going to want to get their hands on. So do keep an eye out for the Orichalcum Blunderbuss Charm. When this update drops, it's going to be a very sought after perk. Now, moving down here, of course, you can see you get things like Enchanted as well, and your attunements, like I said. But the next Blunderbuss specific one is going to be the Steel Blunderbuss Charm, and this one gives you Exhaustive Net Shot. This is where the Net Shot inflicts exhaust, which reduces the target's stamina regeneration by between 10 and 33% for 8 seconds. Now, again, going into the abilities, the Net Shot is where you shoot a net out of the Blunderbuss that deals 40% weapon damage and slows anyone hit by 40% for 2.5 seconds. This can be upgraded where you will get a quicker cooldown on the ability if the net shot hits a target. You will also be able to inflict a 50% slow with an upgrade that degrades over 5 seconds. And finally, inflict a poison that deals 35% weapon damage, 3 1-second ticks for 3 seconds after the ability. Now, of course, pairing that then with this perk, where you'll be able to give them exhaust, again, this is going to be a really, really crucial utility perk and utility ability on the Blunderbuss that I think a lot of players are going to pick up, specifically in PvP. It's also going to be really good in PvE. Both of these first two actually are, because you're going to get the rend, you're going to get the slow, and then you're going to get the exhaust here. It's going to be decent in PvE, but in PvP is where this is really going to shine through, and those two I think are going to be a must-have for most war teams, for most OPR players that are using the Blunderbuss. It's going to be very, very good, and if you're playing against it, you're going to want to be aware of them, because they're going to be very tricky to try and get around. Now, of course, going further down here, you can see we've got perks like Hatred, we've got perks like Keen, like I mentioned there, for your critical chance up, which is a great one to have. Keenly Fortified, Empowered, Speed, and Jagged, of course, as always. Then the next weapon-specific perk we have here is the Star Metal Blunderbuss Charm, which gives us Leeching Shrapnel Blast. This one is where you heal for between 5 and 14% of the damage dealt by Azov Shrapnel Blast. Now, Azov Shrapnel Blast is this one here, which shoots a 5-shot in a horizontal fan in front of you while pushing yourself backwards. Each shot will deal 58% weapon damage, and obviously then if you have the weapon perk, heal you for 14% at maximum gear score for that damage dealt. Now, this is a really important one because you can increase the distance that you shoot this. You can also have 4 additional pellets with the use, which of course will increase the healing that you get. You can get a quicker refresh on this in terms of cooldown, and finally you can attach an Azov bomb to it, which will fire an Azov bomb down the center, dealing an additional 100% weapon damage in a 3-meter area after a short delay. So if this also adds to the healing with the extra shots and with the bomb, you can get a nice bit of HP back from this ability, again meaning that for DPS, specifically in PvP environments, this is going to be a really good perk for sustain and also dropping a high amount of damage when you're in there. So that's going to be a really sought after one as well, which is the Star Metal Blunderbuss Charm. Now you'll see that you also get life stealing, we also get mortal energy, fortification, lifesteal, power and refreshment, as well as siphoning. We get some of the newer perks like the plagued crits on there as well, but more importantly with this one, the next weapon specific perk is the Steel Blunderbuss Charm, and this one gives you Plagued Splitting Grenade. Now this is really important because Splitting Grenade hits then inflict a disease which reduces healing efficiency on the target by between 5 and 14% for 8 seconds. Now the grenade on the blunderbuss is on the left side of the chaos tree, and it shoots out a grenade of the blunderbuss that can bounce up to 4 times and will detonate after 1.5 seconds. Upon its detonation, it creates 3 mini grenades that will disperse after a second, and they will deal 85% weapon damage each in a 3-meter area. You can then upgrade this to deal 25% damage to targets at greater than 50% health. Also, you can upgrade it so that any grenade hit gives you a 20% haste for 3 seconds. And finally, you can upgrade it to make the explosions of the grenades inflict a burn upon the hit, which does 10% weapon damage per second for 10 seconds and can stack up to 3 times if all your grenades hit them. This is really important because obviously pairing it then with this perk that we've seen here, which is the Plagued Splitting Grenade, you're going to give them a burn, you're going to give them that initial damage, and you're going to reduce their healing efficiency by 14% with a maximum gear score weapon for 8 seconds, meaning again this is going to give it a huge amount of damage but also pairs it with a huge amount of utility, again making it a staple for most war teams to be able to clear points, to be able to get rid of healers, to be able to get rid of tanks as well, because this is going to be really good versus anyone who's getting a lot of healing incoming. So overall, going to be a very sought after perk again, meaning that we've got some really good stuff on this blunderbuss so far. Now, the next one we've got here is the Star Metal Blunderbuss Charm. This one gives us Resupplying Mortar Charge. This is where the Mortar Charge kills, reload 1 additional canister, which is limited to 1 reload per shot, and will not reload past 3 canisters. So essentially, you can get up to a kill per shot. You can get more than that, but it will only reload 1 bullet, and it will not reload past 3 canisters. So if you do have the additional perk, which I'll show you guys in a second, it won't go back up to 4, but if you do get down to 2, then you can obviously get it back up to that 3 there, which is really good. Now, the mortar shot on the blunderbuss is the middle ability tree in the chaos path, and it loads the blunderbuss with heavy canisters for the next 15 seconds or 3 shots. Shots will no longer fire multiple pellets, but instead will fire a heavy, fast-diving mortar-style canister that causes a tall explosion upon impact that deals 126% weapon damage. So as you can imagine, this is quite a lot of damage and can do between 2 to 3k, 2 to 2.5k realistically, with a good damage build. In a PvP environment, that's going to be really important if you fire it onto the point, but it's also going to be really good in PvE when you're grouping up mobs. So with that perk, you're going to be able to keep it going for a much longer amount of time. Now, this can be upgraded to gain stamina when hits. You can gain a burst of movement speed when it hits. And of course, here, the final one, which is really important, you can gain an extra shot to make it a +4 shots in total. Now, this works really well with this perk because obviously it will keep your uptime massively further up than regular. And of course, it will mean that you can get more DPS out there. You will be able to get the kills with this easily in PvE, like I mentioned, but also in PvP, particularly firing onto points in wars, for example. You should be able to get a very good amount of uptime with this ability on, so I do think it is going to be another one that is quite sought after, meaning that all of these so far have been very useful. Now, before we jump into the final weapon-specific perk for the blunderbuss, I just want to touch on the new Shirking perks that have been added in. There is Shirking Abyss, Arcane, Flames, Frost, Lightning, and nature. Each of these gives the ability that dodging through an enemy attack causes your next hit within 5 seconds to deal an additional 5 to 19% base weapon damage as Void, Arcane, Fire, Frost, Lightning, or Nature, depending upon which one you have. And again, although these are not specifically related to the Blunderbuss, they are going to be very important and can be put onto the Blunderbuss. It means that when you are dodging through those abilities, whether it's in PvE or PvP, you're going to get essentially nearly 20% extra damage as the concurrent element to your next attack, which is going to be really, really good. Paired with some of the specific weapon perks that we saw before, this could be a really, really good thing to have on your weapon, so do bear in mind that those are coming to the game as well. Now moving finally onto the Orichalcum Blunderbuss Charm, which is the final weapon-specific perk here, which gives you Venturing Claw Shot. This is when the Claw Shot connects with a target at least 10 meters away. You gain a between 5 and 19% empower for 3 seconds or until your next hit. Now, the claw shot on the Blunderbuss is a 4-pronged claw attached to a chain from the muzzle. The projectile will travel up to 14 meters and cannot pull you upwards more than 3, but it acts as essentially a grappling hook. If it connects with an enemy, it deals a 40% weapon damage and inflicts a root for 1 second before quickly pulling you towards them. Now, you can upgrade this to give you stamina upon usage, 8 stamina every second for 10 seconds. You can also upgrade it so that landing a pellet, even if blocked, lowers the cooldown of this. And most importantly, you can have Mobile Overload, which is the final upgrade to this skill tree, which gives you successfully landing a claw shot will automatically grant 1 loaded ammunition. If you currently have 2 loaded ammunition, this will exceed the maximum cap and grant you a 3rd shot. This is really important because obviously looking back at the perk itself, it gives you an empower, so you'll be able to dive towards the target with this grappling shot, do some damage with it, zoom towards them, shoot them with an empowered shot, have 2 extra shots available there, and then pairing it with something like the Leeching Shrapnel Blast from up here, following up with a Shrapnel Blast shot so that you can go in, do a lot of damage, CC them, then you can follow up with this, heal yourself up if you need to. It's going to be a crazy, crazy combo, and I can seriously imagine some very cool PvP clips and PvP environments where the Blunderbuss is going to be super, super useful. I think it's going to be a staple of most war teams, most OPR teams, and of course it's going to be really, really good in PvE as well, making it overall a very good weapon. So if you do manage to get any of these Blunderbuss charms, as always when these new things drop, they're going to be expensive to start with, but any of them, to be honest, maybe the least good, I would say at the moment, is probably the Star Metal one, which is the Resupplying Mortar charge, just because it doesn't give a specific perk other than refreshing the ability you already have. But the rest of them are all going to play a vital factor in one way or another in both PvP and PvE. So if you do manage to get hands on with those, make sure you're keeping hold of them and using them yourself, or selling them for a decent price, because they're all going to be very useful. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's giving you a nice little insight into the perks that are going to be up and coming with the Blunderbuss specifically, and the new Shirking perks, like I said there, which are the brand new weapon perks coming with this March update as well. Hopefully it's giving you a little idea of what you might like to run if you are going to be running the Blunderbuss, or at least what you're going to be facing up against if you're planning to not play the Blunderbuss, because you can be certain that people are going to be trying this weapon a lot when it first drops onto the live servers. If you guys have enjoyed today's video, please do leave me a like and subscribe down below, as it massively helps to support my content here on the channel. And other than that, guys, that is going to be it for today. So thank you for watching, thank you for your time, and I will catch you again very, very shortly on a brand new upload. Take care, guys, and peace.